All right. Welcome to the Way to a Great Marriage cast. Glad to see you.
Hey,
You're here.
hey.
Rhonda is going to sing in honor of Jesus and Heather getting married today. Congratulations.
Congratulations. We love you.
She is going to sing the wedding song instead of one of Omi's songs tonight. So tomorrow we'll pick that back up. But tonight she's going to sing the wedding invitation.
This is called Wedding Invitation, and it's about a wedding. We are the bride, and Christ is the groom. This is for you, Heather, and you, Jesus, and those who are listening that don't know Jesus as your personal Savior. Ask Him into your heart today so you can be part of this bride. The bridegroom's coming back for us, so we got to be prepared. You're invited to a wedding that will be held soon. We are the bride, Christ is the groom, with a crown to wear and a long white robe. We'll walk down the aisle made of pure gold. So what is your answer? How will you respond? The groom is asking the bride to come, and the supper will be in heaven, our new home above. Here's a wedding invitation He's sending with love. Now if Daniel can come from a lion's den, if I can't touch 3 Hebrew children, if Lazarus can make it out of the grave, you and I can go by the way of saved. So what is your answer? How will you respond? The groom, he's asking the bride to come, and the supper will be in heaven, our new home above. Here's a wedding invitation He's sending with love. Amen.
All right. So we tonight you wanted to talk about toxic relationships compared to God-centered relationships.
Yes. Oh, you wanted me to just start talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was your idea. You kick it off and
okay,
we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, I just know Tony has taught me so much about different kinds of, and I'm so sorry, my hair always sticks to my neck. I apologize for that. He always talks about, different kinds of relationships, different kinds of personalities that we've had. We've talked about that. What's good, what's bad, what's a good mixture, and we've all had toxic relationships, and they're no good for us. I heard someone tell someone today, run as fast as you can away from that, just in case you're going to be in trouble. But most of the time we don't listen. We won't listen to somebody else. We have to figure it out the hard way. We have to get hurt ourselves instead of listening to somebody's good advice. I would much rather have a God-centered relationship other than one that's toxic to me, one that doesn't do anything for me, for the kingdom of God. that's my thought process.
Okay. Well, we've had several people to come on, so if you want to ask questions, that's fine. We'll take up
Please
those
do.
questions after we finish with this subject. But I guess we need to define what a toxic relationship was, because I didn't really, from what that you had described your relationships, there wasn't a lot of yelling and screaming
No.
at each other, and
Not a lot. Some, but not a lot. No. Honestly, there wasn't. I mean, there was some, but not a lot.
Or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's why that I say that you look for boring, because toxic relationships are exciting. It's like playing with a stick of dynamite.
When's it gonna blow up? I don't know, but we'll play with it till it does.
And so or a hot potato.
Hot potato.
Which
yes.
one of us is going to get stuck with the stick of dynamite?
I know.
It blows up. So I'm not sure how you would define a toxic relationship.
Well, how would you?
Well, that's how I would describe it. It's something where with a toxic person, with somebody who's a high conflict personality disorder, they're always dramatic.
Right.
Somebody who's addicted to drama, that sort of thing. Somebody always plays the victim or the murder, or always they're a powder keg waiting to go off. They're nitroglycerin.
They are. I've seen people like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had people in your life
I have,
that
yeah.
was like that, but I'm not sure we're talking about the same. I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Right.
I
wanted you to explain to us and all of us, people out there here, what toxic is versus what a good relationship is that would lead to a good marriage.
Well, that is my problem. I'm not so sure that toxic relationships can lead to a good marriage.
Me either. Oh, I agree.
And that's why you make a list of warning signs, and if you see one red flag, I used to be like 3 strikes and you're out, but no, that doesn't work.
No.
They'll get you hooked before they get that 3rd strike in.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I would be hooked on toxicity. I mean, I don't care. It may be fun for a season.
They're quick. They move quickly to get married,
right.
And then you're married and stuck in a situation, and you not ran from the first sign of danger.
Right. Danger, Will Robbins.
And I first heard it. Bob Boone used to talk about it. Toxic relationships. Basically, whenever you take 2 addicts and you put them together, you tend to have a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Their first. We used to joke that their first date was with a moving truck.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very very fast moving, fast paced, exciting ride. That is how it starts off, and that's what gets you hooked is the excitement. Of course, adrenaline junkies, or let's see, dopamine junkies,
right,
is what addicts are, and so they they're in heaven with drama and toxicity,
and it wears me out. I get wore out with it.
Right, and so it wears everybody. Anybody normal out.
Yeah.
But you look at the people who are toxic. That's where I'm not sure there's. I want to have hope in people, and that's what I did whenever I was with toxic people. I had hope that they would change.
Right.
I had hope that God could change them. He can do anything.
He can.
But I'm not so sure that some people are going to.
Well, I've met I've met them that I have such high hopes and I see such potential in someone, and they never ever come to that potential because they're stuck in their toxic selves and they won't allow God to let them come out of it.
I think one of the problems is our mental health institutions today. Is that really whenever you get into a high conflict personality, you're talking about years of psychotherapy
Yeah.
and cognitive therapy. We're not talking about just going to the person that is a master's degree and talking to that person. We're talking about somebody who's licensed to do cognitive
Right.
therapy, a
Right.
PhD degree. And the nightmare is that those who now have that degree, you only see them for about 15 minutes, and
I know.
they write you a script and throw medicine at
And
you.
what good is it?
And so really, there's no help. They put these people on Seroquel and
Everything in the world.
and antipsychotic medications, rather than actually trying to give them cognitive therapy to be able to come out of it. But from from what I've read, a year and a half of intensive cognitive therapy, meeting with a counselor once or twice a week,
An hour long.
an hour long,
Yeah.
with a doctor's degree,
Yes.
a counselor that can do cognitive therapy to retrain the individual how to think differently.
Well, and two, anytime that anyone needs that kind of therapy, there's a root. There's a root to the problem that made them the way they are. And I think with that therapy, maybe they could get to the root. I think we have a question or a comment.
Yeah, they were saying that their relationship was toxic up until it was God approved, and so
There you go.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I just haven't experienced it. And then we have a friend, and when she gave her testimony, I was surprised that she seemed to have turned from a toxic
Yes.
person into her husband told in her testimony, her husband told her sister something like, I don't know what to do.
How do I handle her?
I
She's
don't know
a
what to
doozy.
do with her. Yeah, and she admits that she was.
Yeah.
But maybe God has changed her, but it's just hasn't been my experience. I mean, we were talking on the way home about somebody who had been, married
8 times.
8 times, and all of his first one was worse than all my prior six combined into one.
Yeah.
Rolled into one, and so I mean that's what I'm talking about is and I guess the reason what helped that relationship that this individual commented. I don't know if he wants me to mention his name or not.
Probably not.
But
I would say not.
But is that they both went through a step study,
They did.
and they both and hopefully as a result of that step study they changed. I'm sure that they still fall into that rut every
Sure.
once in a while, and the idea is there's back when the roads were made out of dirt, it made a rut in the road.
Right.
And so slipping back into the rut means you just follow what feels natural to you, normal to you, and that's where with the cognitive therapy helped was you're changing that, but it's your kind of your nature because of partly it could partly be the way that you're born, the personality you're born with, you're born
environment
with
that you're raised
born
in,
with a dominant personality, and you're born with I don't know what else it might take, but then you have environmental. Usually,
Yeah, that's what I
something
said,
tragic
environment.
has happened to these people in their early childhood development
Yeah.
that caused them not to trust people and to. A lot of them hate people.
Well, it can shape you into who you are.
That was the cup
you
we
know?
saw at Cracker Barrel today. Was what was it? Get rid of all the humans, keep the cats, or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. Give me more cats, less humans, or something like that. So we got something else. What
Yeah,
they say?
Terry's on.
Oh, hi, Terry. So the other person that commented, I just wondered if their relationship went from toxic to God, or if it was a different relationship that was God approved, because I didn't understand that the way you read it. Was it a God approved new relationship,
No,
or was it one
Their
that God
relationship,
fixed?
they had a toxic relationship, and until it was God approved, and then this person is saying that it's no longer toxic.
Okay. So I thought maybe it was a new relationship. I didn't understand that
right.
exactly.
And so,
Well, great. That's praise God for that.
right.
If that can happen, praise God.
Right.
I mean, it did
and
happen.
We have seen great strides in that relationship.
Yeah, we
I'm
have.
surprised.
Well, I don't know who it is. I can't see. So
Right.
yeah.
It's a Canadian kid.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's for sure. I just know that with God, all things are possible.
But I don't think, if you're in a dating relationship, I don't think that that's the catch that a lot of us have, is we think, God can change this person.
Yeah, and that's not true.
We date people that we know we shouldn't, hoping we can witness to them, but that's not our job.
No.
And it shouldn't be done in the dating.
Unless you can get it done ever before you get married.
No,
but you can't. So it is how it is.
That's why I'm saying, you see the red flag and you
Yes.
strike one and you're out.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
strike.
Not
you don't get 3 strikes.
No, exactly. And 2, I think if we was
because I'm sure people are watching they're single.
Sure.
Wanting to have input on dating as well, not people who are married and they're in a toxic relationship.
Right.
That that's where really, like in that case, Celebrate Recovery I think really helped them.
I think so.
And so help them, and well, it helped. It seems to help everybody.
Yeah, it helped me.
And at least if you're in a toxic relationship, and your spouse won't go with you to counseling or to the CR, Celebrate Recovery. That's the problem. Lots of times the toxic relationships that involve people with high conflict personality disorders, that's the problem, is those the psychiatrists say that those individuals, we're talking about borderline narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths. Yeah. They don't seek out help.
Right. They don't think they need it.
They don't think they need help until their spouse or they get in trouble or something happens that they see that they need help, and then they will seek out that help. But
I hope so. Lots of times people.
In just being able to get rid of the addiction can help with the toxicity of that relationship, because it's one of the things I always say that they may not be narcissists, but people who are, when somebody is in their addiction, they are narcissistic.
Right, because they're selfish.
Yeah, there's a difference between being narcissistic and
That's
narcissist. True. You have narcissistic tendencies.
I think everybody has tendencies.
Right. Well, it's a spectrum.
Yeah, it is.
We're on it somewhere.
Somewhere on that spectrum.
All of us are selfish to some degree, and so we have that tendency to be narcissistic.
And another thing is I think that
but some people have a right, as explained to me, some people have a right to be that they have like a lot of doctors are, because
Sure.
they have went through medical school and they have this talent and stuff like that, so they have the kind of the right to be narcissistic,
Yeah.
to think highly of themselves, because of what they've accomplished. People who have accomplished a lot, and that we see that with most rich people
Right.
are narcissistic
Good business people.
because they have done it on their own ability. They haven't inherited it.
Right.
If they've built a fortune on their own,
Right.
they kind of have sort of not a right, but they have a reason to
feel that way.
to feel narcissistic, to be not. I guess they have pride in what they
Yeah.
did. They have they feel confident in themselves because of their abilities. But we're not really talking about that.
No, we're not.
With an addict, this person, is incapable of loving anything else but their addiction, and so so that creates it can create a toxic relationship.
But I don't think there's some people who are toxic that aren't addicts. They're toxic because they are.
Right.
You don't have to have an addiction to be toxic. Some people feel like everybody owes them something, and they go into a toxic relationship. You owe me. You owe me just to be with me. And I'm like, really? You know what I'm
saying? They're a
saying?
glamour model.
Yeah, they think they're a glamour model, and
they're a trophy wife.
yeah, or a man that thinks
or husband
thinks he's got going on. No, what I'm saying is you can be mean and you can be narcissistic and you can even be a narcissist and not be a drug addict or not have an addiction of any kind, because some people just feel like that they deserve it.
Right. But it was sad to me. One of my closest friends, who's a recovered addict, he came to me and he asked me, he said, I was a narcissist. Will I ever be able to get over that?
Oh.
And, it's so hard. Yeah. It just broke my heart, because I had to tell him, you can learn to be empathetic to other people or how to show empathy, but you will never actually be empathetic.
That's sad.
But
sad to me.
From what I've studied about it and learned about it from psychiatrists, is that it's not something that can be reversed totally.
Terry said something else. I don't know what. I can't see it, Terry.
Yeah, we have to put on our glasses to read this. I need to see if I bet I could probably enlarge that. Christ can set you free. Yes.
What can?
Christ can set you free. Well, and that's the the sad thing is this person seems to be to be a strong Christian. He does his own podcast. He does a lot of work for Christ, but I'm it's just one of those things.
You have no words, do you?
No. It's scary. It's scary because you think that Christ can, whenever he sets them free, that they can be released from that narcissism. But he wasn't.
No, but I think the person you're talking about, and you've not mentioned a name, but I know has never released it all.
Right, and I haven't listened to Terry. I've listened to testimonies of people who said that they used to be psychopaths. That they had created a pretend world that they lived in. That's kind of what they do. Everything's a lie. They live in a pretend world.
Live a lie.
It's so much better than the world they live in.
What did Terry say?
And so she said, not everyone that says Lord, Lord shall enter. I know people who have been set free. But
me too.
And he claims that he was set free from being a psychopath. But and so
I've not seen it.
And then and then I've seen I've dealt with a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths. That's what in jail and prison ministry, and
yes.
I had this guy who was living in my sober living home. He he had went to prison when he was 17 and was in prison probably for 25 years. Of course, I don't know if I can believe that or not.
Who knows?
Because
Maybe,
the nightmare
maybe
is you can't believe anything a sociopath
Right.
or a psychopath says. And so, but, and so he's very institutionalized. And, he came to Christ, got off drugs, and we were able to help him and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, he would steal things from me, and he didn't think anything about it. He didn't think there was anything wrong with it. The weird thing was I went to pick him up for one day and take him to work on the house, and he had my bag for my my drill. He had my T-square for my drywall, and all this stuff. And I'm like,
This is my stuff.
I'm like, this is my stuff, and he's putting it in my car right in front
and
of
he
my
sto-
face,
and he stole it.
and he doesn't think anything about it.
Oh my!
But and so I just wrote it off and wrote him off
Yeah.
at that point. Like I said, strike one and you're out. What is it? Shame on me, or
Hurt me once or fool me once.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
Shame on me.
But and it's sad that I just had to let somebody else minister to him from then on. But you want to think as a Christian, well, I can't give up on people.
Right. We don't want to.
And really, Jesus, like you're saying, Jesus probably hasn't given up on them, but it's not my responsibility to carry them.
No.
To keep a relationship with somebody that is harmful to me.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it's not healthy for me. And and stealing from you is not healthy for you, by the way.
No, and by the way, we are talking about toxic relationship versus a God-centered one. And the thing about it is, it doesn't matter if it's marriage, it doesn't matter if it's friendship, it doesn't matter if it's a working relationship. There could be toxic ones of all those. And I'm like you. I always feel that maybe I can help them and they can change. But once I found out in Celebrate Recovery, you cannot fix anyone. You can't fix anyone. Don't stop trying to fix them. It's not going to happen. You learn that the hard way after years and years.
And you have to let them come to you rather than you can't run after them. I've heard stories of people, dragging people out of a flop house, but really, and I've never done that. I've always said, boundaries that if you want me to be your sponsor, you need to be at a meeting I'm at,
right?
And I sponsor you at that meeting. Yeah, you got my phone number. You can call me anytime. But if you're not at the meetings that I'm going to, I can't sponsor you.
Right. Exactly. And so what do you think about if someone is out there and they're single and they feel like that they've started into a toxic relationship? How would you tell them to move on away from that? Because someone who is toxic, who is narcissistic, can drag you into them. So how would you tell the single folks out there how to get away from that and not to enter it into a marriage with a toxic relationship?
Right, and that's where we were talking about is that if you're dealing with a sociopath and a psychopath, you can't believe anything that they tell you.
No.
And you've recently found out somebody who we realized they were a psychopath now because they went years with you and putting on a face.
Yes.
And then finally you realized it was all fake.
Well, and I was waiting for it to be.
Well, you kind of, I
was waiting.
You've been warned that they were.
said
by other
something
people.
else.
I know I'm not ready to read it yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Terry. I can't see it.
I don't think it's Terry. It's a
Oh.
Canadian kid.
Oh,
Pray,
okay.
pray.
Pray. That's good.
Oh, I even
That's
wore
good.
that shirt.
Yes.
You remember?
Pray.
Whenever I was living in one of my toxic relationships with you?
He does probably.
I had this shirt that the battle is won on the floor. The prayer of a fervent man it availeth much.
Yeah.
I prayed. In these relationships, I begged God to melt their heart of stone, to melt their heart of ice. I mean, you do everything, but whenever you're dealing with and you don't know that you're dealing with a psychopath.
Right.
You don't realize that everything this person is telling you is a lie.
Right.
And so that's why that it's important to allow time. And that's one of the things that we learned. I mean, that was one of the things that with that relationship that I was talking about is they wanted to get married right away.
Right.
Even though we had dated for 2 years, but it had been
Right.
off and on. Once we got back on, they wanted to get married.
Snag you up.
Right away. It was like a month and a half later.
Yeah.
And that was the marriage counselor at the time was like,
Don't think so.
why is she rushing you into this? She's trying to before that she can't handle. That's the reason we stayed up broke up in that 2 years more than we were together. She couldn't handle putting on the facade for that long.
Right. You can't be a fake on and on
But,
if that's not really who you are. People cannot listen. If you're out there and you are trying to be someone you're not, you can't do it. It will find you out.
well,
And-
and that's why you take it slow.
Yeah.
Give it a couple of years, which I thought I had with that person, but you
Sometimes it takes longer than that. Honey.
right, but
Yeah.
you need two continuous, a year or two continuously, but
Of
and
goodness,
not jumping into something
Yeah.
just so that you can see if they're lying to you. One of the nightmares was I wasn't able to look in. I didn't know anybody that knew them prior to
Right.
Except for their ex, but talking, I guess I would hope somebody in their family would warn you, but that they don't.
No. They just say, God bless. Good luck.
I had a preacher once told me about the girl. Well, if something happens to you two, we'll keep you and she can go.
Yes.
Or we worry about you that you might be found in a ditch someday.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna find you dead in a ditch. Run.
And that's the problem with these toxic relationships is because they are a powder keg, because they are playing with nitroglycerin and it blows up.
Yeah.
When it blows up, it usually ends in violence.
Right. That's scary to
and
me.
then you have the nightmare because you can't believe anything they say. They're going to lie to get you back. I won't do it again. I don't know
what was wrong. It's not me.
Right. It was just the alcohol or whatever.
Right.
Whatever it might be. Where that. And that's where talking about toxic relationships here is important. Setting, we've talked about the importance of setting those boundaries and getting yourself in a safe place, keeping yourself safe from these individuals.
Yeah, I just like he said, pray. But still, it didn't answer. If you're dating someone that is toxic and that has narcissistic tendencies, how do you get away from them? Tell them what are some things they could do, because with a narcissist or a toxic person, it's like they've got a hold of you. You can't get loose. What do you do to get loose from them so you don't end up being with them and feeling like you have to marry?
Well, the problem is whenever that you do get away from them, they're going to destroy you.
I know. That's what I mean.
They will do everything in their power to destroy you. If they're from, any of those toxic, borderline narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, that's what they do. And the higher up they are, you won't know they're destroying you. Psychopath, they got this web out there destroying you, and you don't even know it.
But okay, say they're going to try to destroy. Say they're going to try to destroy you. How do you get away from them? That's still not been answered.
Well, I know,
want the
but
people to know.
the warning was where do you get away from them?
I know.
And they're going to destroy you. But you just you need to walk away. I changed my phone number 3 times in 1 year because they would call up, and I called it Chinese water torture. Drip, drip, drip. It'd be like, oh hi, how is your dad and mom doing? Or that, and all this, they because they feed on your, like we were somebody was saying that they like to go visit somebody because that they tell them how beautiful they are.
Yes.
And all this, they feed on that. They want to keep you around to feed on your on you telling them all these good things about them. And so they will keep trying to come back into your life. And then whenever you really do the break, that's whenever they will attack you. But we really need to think about, if you're married, and that's where that's where the
if you're married and you're in a toxic relationship, what do then? You always say let's separate till you can get better.
Well, you can't. I mean, they haven't done anything to physically harm you, and that's what I was. I was watching one of the guys in church today, and I don't know if he doesn't want to be at church or, but knowing his wife, I'm probably he's probably miserable because his wife makes his life miserable. And so, that's why I always make this joke, is that's why guys take up fishing and hunting.
Maybe they just like to hunt and fish. Now, if you don't like it and you start going, I'd be a little worried. That's funny.
But seriously, get into Celebrate Recovery and tell the guys and or girls and in small group what's going on, and help them bounce things off. Your sponsor and accountability partners can help you bounce things off, what to say and deal with. Like I said, you can read the book Stop Walking on Eggshells. The counselor gave me that book. I downloaded it for free off the internet. If you want me to email you a copy, I've got it in my email somewhere. But you can learn how to do things. I joke. It was a full moon. Friday?
Yeah.
The guys in the rehab were like, "You're here every full moon. Did you ever notice that?" And so I started setting my alarm for every full moon and walked on eggshells. But that's no life to live. But
no.
But if you're married, you are kind of stuck in that situation until and that's what and I learned, that's how I learned so much about marriage, was I learned I could work on myself. And because the idea is you marry to 100% people, to whole people, and you got 100% whole marriage.
You do.
But it's multiplication. But if you marry to 50% people marry each other, you've got a 25% marriage.
Yeah.
And so if you can increase yours up to 75, then you've got, I don't know what the math is there, the 37.5% marriage, instead of a 50% marriage or 25% marriage. So you can improve your marriage by improving you.
Do you think, though, that there ever is 100% marriage? Ever?
No, we're all defective, but so we're
I just wanted to give them
right, but it was easier to calculate. One times one is one.
Yeah.
80% of 80% is 64%. So or 90 is 80. 90% drops down to 81%. So both of you are at 90%, but
well, that, I just didn't want anybody to think, hey, listen, like to their spouse, hey, baby, we don't have 100% marriage. Well, there's nobody that does, because we're all hurt, broken people. But if we work on ourselves, you work on you, I work on me, it can be a whole lot better.
But that's why that you need to do that before you get married. But you
Right.
do it after you get married.
Right. Need to before.
Work on you.
Work on you
and
before.
become a whole person.
Yeah.
Work on. That's what Celebrate Recovery does. We work on damaged people. We're hurt people. People become hurt, and then they develop a habit to deal with that hurt, and then it becomes a hang up whenever they can't stop the habit.
Right.
And so we're for people with hurts, habits, and hang-ups. But really, it's for the hurting people. We're
Right.
all hurting people.
We are.
all
Yeah.
have some sort of defect, and we have to work on that defect of character, and that's we sort of need to do that before, and we can do that after we get married to improve.
It's better first, but if you have to, you can after. But that's what I wanted to talk about, was toxic versus God.
We didn't
know.
talk about God-centered.
God-centered, yeah.
Or God reliant. You both need to get to the point. Of course, if your spouse won't, you can do the same thing. I wore the same T-shirt back then too. Is Matthew 6:33. You can do things through Christ who strengthens me. Is no.
No, that's not it.
You made me lose. Seek ye first the kingdom of
Yes.
heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. So you do what God, you put God first and do what He asks you to on a daily basis, and and see where that takes you.
Oh, so much better if you seek God first and all of His kingdom and His righteousness, and all the other things will be added. I love that.
That's one of the bad things. It applies for a man or a woman. The Bible says it's better to live in the corner of the rooftop than in the house with a brawling woman. Well, it's better to attend CR every night of the week than to be at home with a woman who wants to fight.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Or a man,
or
who
woman
wants to fight.
Yeah.
And so that's that's how you can you become God-centered.
Yeah.
You become God-oriented. You every time the doors are open, every time there's a little Bible study, every time there's anything, you put yourself in it. And regardless, I mean, they're going to accuse you of cheating on them, and I mean, they did me. That's what happened to me. That you're, nothing good happens. If you hang around church after church is over, and you just do those things, and
but see, that's a jealous person,
right?
That's a jealous person. That's a total different.
But they
different.
usually are. I mean, that's what we were taught. We were seeing. They make you delete all the women out of, or opposite sex out of your. We're talking about men and women. Here, but they make you delete all the opposite sex out of your phone, and then they make you defriend everybody on Facebook that's the opposite sex. It's control. They're
control and jealousy.
They're control. Yeah. They have control. They have the spirit of control and the spirit of jealousy.
I mean,
and so
that wears me out.
Isolation. Even from friends and family, eventually it'll come after they ask you to do that. They'll ask you to stop seeing your family.
Wow.
And
I've known so many people that's happened to.
And stop. And so, but
so many.
And they're going to try to discourage you from going to church or CR because they don't want anybody, I guess, giving you what I call the red pill, letting your eyes be open and see what they're doing to you. You're a frog in the frying pan, and they're turning up the heat. And the more that you're there, the less that you see what they're doing to you. And that's where the having outside connections helps you, and that's why that I'm always very careful with you to never discourage you with your friends and that sort of thing, or tell you, what to do, or
Like go to the Friday night Bible study, and we go to a Monday night Bible study together.
Mhm.
But then the Friday night Bible study is just women. But um, but anyway, that's really all I've got tonight. I just wanted to. I was thinking of toxic relationships, and
Does that answer your question? Did we cover it well?
yeah, I still really don't know how to tell someone that is married. I'm thinking of women more than men because
Right.
that's who I hear talk. How they get out of a toxic relationship without being scared to death, or um, that's what I was really wanting you to answer.
Well, we really can't encourage them to get out of the relationship if they're married. I mean, we do, Terry pointed out that they can change, but
Yeah.
I don't think, but I'm not sure we can hope for that, as the person.
On the other side,
Well, I don't really want, I don't want to give that person that hope, because, if they come to Jesus, and I've seen that, them get baptized and get saved, and make that move to make you,
Yeah.
to bring, suck you back in, and
Yeah.
to get you to trust them.
that happened with you, right?
Well,
So,
it's,
yeah.
in several, 3 of them.
well, you can't have fake salvation to try to pull something. That's what happens. So
Right, and
You know.
as she said, they'll say "Lord, Lord," but there's not really a true change there.
Right.
They're just putting on another front,
that's right.
and so it's whenever you're dealing with these individuals, it's scary, but I don't want to give them false hope that these people can change, because I haven't seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
The hope is that they will, that they can, find support and help, to be able to stick in it, and not, their happiness isn't dependent upon this
Right. Sorry, my phone. I didn't turn my phone off. Okay, but still, I think that as far as if you're in a toxic relationship, that you could say, I have hope for you to change.
Yeah.
And if you don't, there's nothing I can do about it. But my hope only is in Jesus. But
Right.
then you have to turn your life and not be a faker. You can't fake Jesus just to get me to like you or get back with you. You have to have a real, true change. And the proof is in the pudding. If there's no change in a person, I don't care if they get baptized 100 times,
Right.
and they go up and shake the preacher's hand. If you do not see someone change their life, like a lady that I'm thinking about right now and her son, if you don't see a change in them, there is no change. They have not received Jesus, and that is not thus saith me. It's just the truth. If you don't have a change, then you've not accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior. You will be a new creature in the Lord. You won't, old habits are passed away, and you put on a new coat, like the old song is. And that new coat is new in Jesus. And you can't fake it, people. You cannot fake Christianity to get your husband or your wife to love you if you don't have a real change. And that makes me sad. I want you to have a real change. I want you to know Jesus, really. Not pretend you do just to make somebody happy. You cannot pretend. What somebody said something.
She said that if it became physical, Terry said that she encourages them to leave.
That's right.
And then she said that when Dave got saved, he quit being jealous. So.
There you go. Jealousy goes away. It really does. I agree.
But we agree with Terry if it's physical, but I don't condone divorce. What I say is, separate. Tell him he has to leave, and he can't come back until we've went over this several
We have.
times in
Well,
other
they need to
episodes.
hear it.
And I'll go over it again because they need to hear it over and over again because a woman will leave 7 times and come back before
coming
she
back.
actually sticks with it. But he needs to show that there has been a change,
Yeah.
and take classes. Like I said, it could the anger management with the state officers is a 52 week
Right.
program, and so they would need to complete that, and so that really
Well,
threatening to put an EPO on them, which lasts for like 2 years, I think, might be appropriate. You just you just remain single and
right.
until that's over, and then you can see if they've changed after that point.
But let me ask you this, and this has kind of got into a deeper subject. Let me ask you this though. Most women I know would be afraid to give them a chance, afraid they'd beat them up again. What if I give him a chance to see if
Right.
he's changed and he beats the poo-poo back out of me again?
Right. Well,
So I don't know.
but you can meet them in a public place.
You could, but I mean,
and-
that's not where they're going to
and
beat you.
And right, I know.
Yeah.
To find that until you can see how they are. I mean,
Uh,
because what happens is their anger is there. They
Yeah.
they
Eventually, well,
well
blow
no,
up
they're
at
going to
you.
be angry that you won't you meet them at church,
Right.
and then they'll be angry that you don't go out to eat with them after.
right. And so they're not changed if that's
Yeah,
the case.
right. So
That's
you
a good
should
idea.
be able to see their lack of change, and you
That's
take it very, very slow. So you say, "I'll meet you at church, on Sunday," and then you can see how that goes, and then for a couple of weeks, and then the next week, I'll meet you at
For lunch or whatever.
somewhere somewhere
Public.
very busy like
Mhm.
Cracker Barrel on Sunday after
Yes.
church.
Woo! It's crazy today. No, the only reason I said that is because I've heard people say, I love them, whether it's a man or a woman. I love them so much. I don't want to, but I'm afraid to see how they are. But you're right. If somebody's really changed, they'll say, I don't care how long it takes.
Right.
I'm going to prove to you. And so I will meet you at church every week for 5 months if you want to. That shows a real change.
Right.
Or if they go, if you don't go out to eat with me, just forget it. Then that's not really a
and
change.
you have to see elocution. I mean, they should make amends with you,
Right.
And they should say, of course, most of them do
Say
that.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, right.
But then it's they're usually it's better than that, but it's I shouldn't let my anger get the best of me.
Right.
And
I'm trying. I'm working on it.
yeah, I'm working on. This is what I've
Mhm.
done to change.
That's good.
Terry says she knew a lady that took the anger management classes and changed. I'm glad that she did.
Yeah, we know somebody didn't.
We know somebody that took the anger management classes
Didn't
and
help.
change, but
They didn't want
but
to,
that was
so.
back whenever it was 26 instead of 52. But
Yeah.
it depends upon the person,
Yes.
really. And I'm not so sure that the state anger management classes are really beneficial. That's why I think that Christian counseling and
Right.
and that sort of thing would be more beneficial.
I agree.
Than because basically the state just tries to make the person become non-assertive, become a nothing. But anyway,
What'd she say?
the man.
The man?
The man. She said the man. I do have a friend.
Yeah.
He saw the psychiatrist once a week. I do
Okay.
have a friend who was ordered to go to anger management, and it really worked. I guess it was a man instead of a woman.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
assumed
Gotcha.
that if it was one of Terry's friends, it was
Yeah.
a female, but I guess,
I guess
she knew
not.
a guy.
And probably,
that-
you know,
that
they
it
didn't
worked
see a
on.
lot in their church.
Yes,
So,
yes.
you know, I'm not really allowed to say, but
Right.
we just want you to know there is hope. We never want to give you false hope. Like you said, we don't want
Right.
to give you false hope. But if somebody is willing to change, then all these things can help them if they're willing to change.
And that's one of the things we work with. We do get calls all the time, or we have gotten calls from people who are in toxic relationships and want to know what to do. Of course, now, if one of the things is if you're living together, that will, I believe that will lead to the relationship blowing up, and it's usually
know.
toxic because of the situation, because you're not honoring God.
Right.
Not
When
necessarily
you're living together.
when you're living together,
Yeah.
not but necessarily because of the personalities of the people.
Right.
It's
Right.
because you're not meant to be living together, and you're
Right.
and so you're the spirit of anger is probably there, and some
True.
other spirits.
True.
You're not protecting
All this is
yourself.
true.
But you can reach out to us if you have
Please do.
if you need help. And so in that aspect, I've tried to help women and men. That's my 501c part of the bylaw. The bylaws it describes for people who are displaced because of domestic violence,
Yes.
homeless.
That's different.
It calls for homeless and for people who are drug addicts.
Yeah.
The Christ Recovery Ministry is not just for drug addicts.
That's right.
I set it up for, and so that's the mantra of my ministry, is to help people who are dealing with domestic violence, drug addiction, or homelessness, or whatever
Yeah.
they may be dealing with.
Yes.
So, anyway, that concludes tonight. I still didn't look up Lawrence Welk.
Oh, you want me to sing?
Yeah, but you don't know that one word.
I don't know the very last word to Lawrence Welk. Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams to you. Here's a kiss and a prayer that all your dreams come true. And now, till we meet again. This is the hard part. Adios, au revoir. See you later. Good night. Oh, here, Katie
Good
wants
night to you. And
Katie
yours.
wants to say good night. Good night. Good night. Bye.